So tonight I have my uncle's BMW Z4 in for a two-stage correction and ceramic coating. He got this car brand new back in 2010, and he's used it primarily as his weekend driver, as a fun vehicle. So he lives down in New York City, keeps this primarily parked in a parking garage, or he used to. So there's a couple marks on the back where some of the water runoff got on the back and actually etched into the paint. So in addition to that, there's a couple scratches around the vehicle, which I'll show here on the B-roll, that need to be cleaned up. So do a two-stage correction, use the new DIY jeweling pad to finish this out, and then apply DIY 8-year ceramic coating to protect it for the next couple of years. All right, so this car has already been prepped. I already did the hand wash, the decon stage, cleaned up the wheels. I did use quick beads on the wheels to try to give them a little bit of extra protection. So what I'm going to focus on now is drying off the vehicle and then starting to do the two-stage polish on this to try to see what I can clean up as far as the scratches and see if that staining will come out before I move on to trying the wet sanding to try to remove those. As I mentioned at the start of the video, this vehicle was stored in a parking garage in New York City. Minerals from the cement dissolved into the water runoff from the building and dripped onto the car, causing the staining you see here. I start with a hand polish using DIY gold standard polish in a microfiber to remove the stain from the rear trim pieces before moving on to the paint. All right, so I've done my test spot, and these spots here are coming out with just a two-stage correction, so I don't think I have to do any wet sanding. So there was some of these over on the corner down here, and if you look at the paint, it is pretty good. I still need to hit this a little bit more. So I was using the Flex Pixie to correct this area here, and those watermarks were able to get removed. So I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to switch over to the long throw DA with the DIY foamed wool pad and see if these swirl marks will come out pretty easily. And then I'll switch over to the jeweling pad and finish this out. So hopefully I'll be able to save myself a little bit of time. And this scratch right here, hopefully that'll come out pretty easily. So I was wrong, and these areas ended up taking longer to fix than I expected. I ended up going with wet sanding these areas and then following up with a gold standard pad and polish, which significantly cut down on my working time. The first stage polish was done using DIY wool pad and the gold standard polish on a long throw DA. This gave me a reasonable amount of cut and working time to remove the majority of the defects from the paint. I still find that 3D1 polish and Buff and Shine Eurofiber pads cut more than this combination. However, this finishes down better in the end and has less of a chance of causing defects should I make contact with trim pieces. These were then refined using the DIY red jeweling pad and gold standard polish to bring these panels to an incredible shine and finish compared to the starting condition. The areas that could not be reached with the polisher were hand polished to remove the last of the remaining stains. Now that I had my plan of attack, I worked my way around the car, polishing each panel to completion. The piano black A-pillar was polished back to a high gloss using the jeweling pad. I have found that more aggressive pads will haze these areas significantly, and the jeweling pad is often more than enough to bring these areas back to an acceptable level, unless there are deeper scratches. Once I got to the back of the vehicle, I noticed some stain spots I'd missed when the trunk lid was open, so I quickly hand polished these areas. The entire vehicle was wiped down with glass parency panel prep to remove the remaining polishing oils and leave a surgically clean surface ready to accept the coating. For the ultimate gloss and protection, I went with the DIY 8-year ceramic coating. This will protect this car for at least the next 8 years and likely well beyond this since the car is garage kept and not daily driven. This coating goes down super easy with plenty of working time and leaves an extremely slick surface and incredible gloss. This made the blue on this BMW absolutely pop in the shop lights. Everything, including the paint, trim, and glass, was coated with the 8-year coating. Since my uncle is not a nearby customer, I decided to do the windshield with DIY instead of glass parency. Glass parency requires annual maintenance for the best performance, and since I would not be seeing this vehicle often, I felt like the DIY coating would give the best performance with no maintenance. The tires and wheel arches were dressed with Meguiar's hyperdressing. The wheels had been cleaned prior to me pulling the car into the garage. There was still some brake dust staining that I was not able to remove even when using iron remover and then trying wheel acid, which is my typical go-to for stubborn wheels.